So I'm here to talk about progressive delivery, implementing continuous delivery the right way. And before, well, just a little bit about me. As I was introduced, I'm a cloud engineer now at Adobe. But I've been involved a lot with open source projects for many years on the Apache Software Foundation, Eclipse Foundation, Jenkins, and a lot of things. So before we start, let me learn a little bit about you. So who here knows about Kubernetes? Some people, OK. Continuous delivery? More people, OK. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to switch things. I'm going to change what I was planning to do. So I'm going to show you a demo first. And maybe you can relate to what I'm trying to explain. So I have this awesome application here. This is my staging environment. This is my production environment, as everybody should have too, of course. So I have this game, which is very fantastic, where I can just shoot lasers to crocodiles. What could be more fun than that? I could be playing this all day, but I'm going to continue talking. So in this game, obviously, is not very environmentally friendly, shooting crocodiles with lasers, so I have to apply a change. I've been told to change the game. So in staging, I already made this change offline. And instead of throwing lasers, what I'm throwing is fish to make crocodiles. This is a lot more friendly, right? So as you may see at the bottom, release here is 0070, and release in production is 69. So I have two versions, one in staging, one in production. So what I'm going to show you, and let's see, this is all running good, OK. I'm going to upgrade my production environment to the version that I have in staging. That's so I can. This is all running on Kubernetes and Google Kubernetes Engine. So let me do this production. What is my deployment? And I'm going to change the version to 70 here. OK. And while I'm doing this, I'm checking the logs here. Yes. And I'm hitting my application here to know what version is serving. And if the demo gods are with me, this will display something eventually. I'm still connected to the internet. Yes, so this is 70. This is already 70. Wait, no. Oh, OK, I changed the wrong one. Of course, you always make mistakes while doing a live demo. Let's put it back. This is 69. I wanted to change another one. This is the one I wanted to change. So forget everything you saw so far. I'm changing the version to 70. OK. And OK. So what happened is I changed the version to 70, but that change is not getting effect immediately. You see that version is still 69. And if I go to my production environment, it's still version 69. It's still the lasers version. OK? So what I can monitor here, there it is. I have a log here at the bottom that says new revision has been detected. So I have something running on my cluster that is noticing that the version has changed. But instead of changing the version directly in the production environment, what this is doing, and I can show you some graphs here that I need to reopen. I have some graphs that will show me the traffic that my application is getting, how many requests, and things like that. So let's take a look at the logs again. Yes, this is still nothing has happened there. Well, this happens, OK, it already did. In the logs, it's basically saying, I'm rolling out your new version to production environment, but only to 10% of the users. So this is a typical Canary deployment. Anybody familiar with Canary deployments? Okay, some people. I'll go into details, but this is basically saying, this is something that Facebook, Google, I mean, big companies and a lot of startups like Netflix, well, if Netflix is a startup, are doing, which is rolling out the changes to a percentage of people and getting those metrics. So I can get the metrics here. On the left, I have my old version. On the right, I have the new version, and I can see the success rate, the requests, what's happening, response times, things like that. And then what's happening behind the scenes automatically is that I have something in Kubernetes, running Kubernetes in my cluster, that is checking that those metrics are all successful before rolling it out. So what this is actually doing is rolling it to 10% of the users, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then everybody before, while checking the metrics. So instead of saying, oh, I have this new version, let's put it in production for everybody, we're going to do this Canary rollout to know if the application fails for a small percentage of users before impacting everybody, because then it would be a more expensive change. So if I go to my production, some users are getting 69, which is the old version. And if I refresh enough times, this is 69 again, 69, 69. Okay. So it's a percentage of the users are getting the new version. I'm going to forget about what I heard. Okay. There's caching involved also. Okay, 70. So this user gets the version 70. So only a percentage of users are getting my new version. So let's go back to the slides. So progressive delivery. So this is a new term that includes some deployment strategies that try to avoid these problems when you deploy something to everybody. So this is trying to challenge that and make it better. So instead of deploying to everybody, you have these two versions, or more than two versions, running in parallel for a number of time. And you constantly monitor what the new version metrics are. Like, it can be something like request, error, success, failure, things like that, very easy to figure out. But it could also be like, I don't know, number of orders in your website. If suddenly there's no new orders coming, you can think, okay, my new version is broken in some way. So instead of saying, I deploy to everybody, I'm going to try to deploy slowly over time and running two versions in parallel. So continuous delivery is hard. Progressive delivery is trying to make continuous delivery easier to adopt and reduce the risk associated with continuous delivery. So there's some techniques. These are nothing new, really, but it's just grouping all of them together. So you have the rolling updates, where basically you have something deployed in virtual machines, containers, physical machines, whatever, and you upgrade one machine at a time or one container at a time. This has the benefits that you can also monitor if something is wrong or not, but it's not as fine-grained as you could do with Canary deployments that I show, where you can be more fine-grained and say a percentage of users or other metrics. So this has been used for a number of years already, and you can do this in Kubernetes natively, no problems. There's also blue-green deployment, where you have two versions of the application, the old one, the new one, and you have a router in front or a load balancer or just DNS entry that says, we're going to switch to the new version, and everybody goes to the new version. But if you notice that something is wrong with the new version, you just have to go to the router and say, like, switch everybody to the old version. you don't have to deploy it again because it's already running. So you have both running and just a switch that sends people to one or another. And Canary deployment, what I show you in the demo, is a bit more fine-grained. You can use percentage. A lot of companies, what they do also is using regional, based on the location of the user. Like my requests are coming from New Zealand. This is something that a lot of American companies do. They roll it out to New Zealand first for whatever reason. It's very statistically similar to the US. So they roll it out to New Zealand, and then if it works, there's no errors for those users, then it roll it out to everybody else. And you can do like HTTP headers, you can do a lot of different ways of splitting, not just a percentage base. And one phrase I like to talk about is that monitoring is the new testing, because you can only test for things you know that can fail. Monitoring is important because this will help you realize what is failing that you didn't know about, right? So you cannot test for stuff that you don't know. So monitoring is gonna help you find these issues in production. And you can also react to these issues automatically. So who's using Jenkins here? Anybody? Some people. Who knows Jenkins? Okay, all right. So Jenkins X is a new project that I've worked on before, and I still contribute to it, but so it's a new version of Jenkins that runs on Kubernetes, and right now, the only thing that it has in common with Jenkins is the name, but it's a Kubernetes native continuous integration, continuous delivery project. So you have to have a run on Kubernetes. I mean, the demos I've done are in Google Kubernetes Engine. You could use any Kubernetes service or in your own VMs. It includes a lot of popular tools that you probably heard about, like Docker, and there's some new tools that I will not go into detail, but there's the cat logo on the right is Tecton. It's an open source project created by Google that comes from the Canary project. That it's a pipeline engine for Kubernetes. So Jenkins X uses that to run your job. So every job in Jenkins X runs on Kubernetes, creates a new container for whatever your task is, to your compilation, your deployment, and everything, and it's going to deploy that. The pipeline engine for Kubernetes, and uses containers to run these pipeline steps. Pro is another project that comes from the Kubernetes that implements Shutups, and it handles the GitHub webhooks. So this is this new concept of Shutups that I can show you here, which is I create new pull requests. Let me see if I have one open here. There it is. And I have a bot that will interact with me when I submit a pull request, and it's going to tell me things like approval process, like this pull request is not yet approved. Somebody has to come and say approve. It will tell you messages like the pull request has been built and is now available here. This is one of the things that Jenkins X does, creates you preview environments with the contents of your pull request. But you can also do very useful things like this, right? So you say meow, and it answers with cat pictures, right? Isn't this the most useful stuff that you can do in GitHub today? So this is what is Shutups, and I could say /approve to approve my pull request. I can do these things, and everything is logged and in my GitHub pull request. We use Helm, which is the package manager for Kubernetes. This is all integrated in Jenkins X by default. And Scaffold, another Google project that allows you to build Docker images. Anybody using Docker? Yes, some people. Okay. All right. So I'm not gonna go into much detail with this. So what I showed you in the demo, this is there's a write-up on the Jenkins X site on how to do progressive delivery with Jenkins X. I'm not gonna go into details, but behind the scenes, it uses Istio, which is a service mesh. Istio is a very powerful and complex project that allows you to manage the networking between different containers in Kubernetes. So it's networking based, like virtual networking. Allows you to do very interesting things, like the metrics I was showing you, the demo I didn't have to touch my application at all. Everything is done automatically by Jenkins X and all these tools. So Istio is sitting there in the middle and is sending me all these metrics about response time, success or error HTTP request, request codes, response codes, all these things from HTTP. These are being sent by Istio. It allows me to control, that's another thing you've seen here, I'm controlling whether my traffic is going to the old version or the new version, and I can send how much percentage I send to both versions. It allows you to secure your services doing encryption and control the traffic. So that's what you saw. Prometheus is where all these metrics are being sent. And Flagger is a project that will automate all of this for you. So it's the thing that is sitting behind the scenes and is looking at the metrics and is controlling Istio and sending the traffic. So whenever Flagger detects a new deployment, it will hold it, and then it will do the 10%, 20%, 30%, and so on. And one of the most interesting parts is that if it detects there's a number of errors that you can configure, it will automatically roll it back. So that's the safety net that you have. So if when I deploy my new version, for whatever reason I start getting 500 errors, I don't have to do anything. Flagger will automatically roll it back to the old version. This is all configurable on config files, so you can say at the bottom how often, like every 60 seconds, check the metrics. Max wait, step wait is like how much percentage of traffic you want to send to one version or another. And I'm using two Istio metrics to verify that my deployment is successful. So I want to say that 99% of the requests are successful, so not 500 errors. And I want my request duration to be under the 500 millisecond mark. So if any of these things fail, my deployment is rolled back. So this is what, when you hear about don't do deployments on Fridays afternoon, okay? This is what's gonna save you from breaking stuff, right? So you don't have to do anything. It will automatically roll it back for you. And this is the way you can promote things in Jenkins X. It's very easy. Just say, what version do you want to promote, what environment, and this is part of Jenkins X. So let me see. Well, this is the way Flagger works with Istio and the two deployments I have. I have the primary deployment, which is the old version, the Canary deployment, the new version, and Flagger is controlling, looking at the metrics, how the traffic is shifted from the old version to the new version. And you can also get Slack warnings if you are using Slack. This is the metrics I showed you before live. But if you're using Slack, you can also get messages saying, new revision detected, we are starting a Canary deployment, 10% wait step, this is the percentages you're sending, and at the end you get Canary deployment successful. And if it fails for whatever reason, it will tell you, the threshold of failures has reached the maximum, and it's automatically rolling back the application. So if you want to take a look at the applications, the demos I had, I have two versions. One is using Golang, the other using Java and Quarkus, which is a new microservice deployment. Yeah, if you're interested in Java and microservices, it's interesting because it allows you to do even native compilation on the JVM, but just as a curiosity. And if you have questions, Madlava? Okay.